I'm Jessica Alexander, and I'm the VP of the Amazon account at CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is a SaaS platform that stops breaches for our customers. So we use the crowdsourced data that comes into our cloud from millions of customers and endpoints, and it correlates all that information and can tell when a bad guy is in someone's network. And we're able to stop them and isolate them from doing any harm or damage. And I have the privilege of managing the team that supports the Amazon account, and we have the honor of keeping them safe and preventing breaches in their environment. I love that I never know what kind of conversation or what kind of people I'm going to meet. I would say that's one thing that I love about sales. Every day is different. I could have a day where I'm out with a customer in a customer meeting, or I'm in the office following up on things, or I'm talking internally to people to get things done for the customer. And I would say the second thing that I love about sales is the pursuit of finding a new opportunity and taking that opportunity and figuring out how do we make it so that we can win it. I love the challenge of getting somebody who maybe isn't familiar with our products or familiar with the market that we sell in, educating them and really helping them understand a problem that they have and how we could solve it. So the unique thing about sales in the cybersecurity industry is that oftentimes the salespeople are talking to very technical people, right? They are cybersecurity experts. They work in, coding, or they work in deploying technology to keep a company safe. So oftentimes there's a disconnect between the salesperson and the person that they're talking to. As salespeople in technology and cybersecurity, we usually have engineers that support us. And so, the salesperson is teamed up with an engineer, and we go out and talk to customers, and the salesperson will really identify, is there an opportunity here, right? Do they have budget? Is there a problem that we can solve for them? How far along are they in the problem identification process? Are they looking at our product? Are they looking at competitors' products? And then kind of doing like the business analysis. And then once the salesperson vets that, yeah, there's an opportunity here and I think we have a good chance to win it, then they bring in an engineer, right? And the engineer really lays out, well, here's the technology. It sounds like this is the problem that you're trying to solve, and here's how our technology could solve it. And so the engineer really works, in lockstep with the salesperson to make sure that they have a viable opportunity and that the product is a good fit for the customer's problem. And then once they validate that the technology is a good fit, then the salesperson kind of comes back in and validates that it's a good fit, that they can move forward with the project, and that, the customer would end up buying something. We always do a lot of research, like who is this person? Who is this company, right? Who is the company? What are their objectives? How do they make their customers happy? And then, are there any, especially in cybersecurity, right? Have they had any public breaches? Have they had any issues security-wise? And then really looking at the organization. And I would say that this is probably one of the things that I love doing the most, is especially with large accounts, is mapping out the organization, right? Who's top of the food chain, who rolls up into that person, like really figuring out the organization. And then, being able to very intentionally engage with each person, because a lot of these companies and prospects are getting lots of calls, lots of emails, lots of messages on LinkedIn, right? It's really about, how do I differentiate my message? And a lot of that has to do with establishing the relationship early on, of being a good listener and having done research, right? Coming to them and saying, well, I noticed that you had a breach, or I noticed that, another customer in your same vertical is struggling with these issues, and we were able to help them identify that problem and resolve it. And then really figuring out how to listen and building that trust. And I would say that, in my 25 years of sales, the most important thing that I've developed with my customers is trust. I mean, as they say, right, you earn trust a drop at a time, but you can lose it a bucket at a time. And so it's really hard to, make sure that you have enough level of trust so that when, for example, a project starts to go sideways or someone goes silent on you, right? And you're trying to figure out, well, what happened? Like, I thought they liked my product. I thought they were going to buy something from me. And if you have that relationship and you've, mapped out the organization, you can go to someone else and say, hey, I was talking to Bob and he's not responding anymore. What should I do? And then you can get that kind of back channel information. Well, Bob is having lunch with your competitor and he likes that product better. Or Bob is actually exiting the company and he's not going to be around anymore. So the project doesn't have an owner, right? So really being able to become a trusted advisor for a customer or a prospect is really important. I would say the biggest misconception about sales is that in order to be really good at it, you have to be an extrovert. I find that introverted salespeople tend to listen and talk less. And I would, a lot of the people that I talk to think, especially in cybersecurity sales, people ask me, well, you don't seem like you have a technical background. Like, how did you get into cybersecurity sales? Were you an engineer? Did you study that in college? And I always encourage people that even if they don't have a technical background, that they can be good at technical sales. As far as necessary training for a tech sales job, I always encourage sales reps to get a certification, whether it be a basic security certification, or a lot of times I'm hiring for cloud security sales. So having a certification in AWS professional cert or Google Cloud or Azure, right? Having one of those kind of business professional certifications is a great differentiator when I'm interviewing people. Also having some basic sales training, whether it be, even like reading a sales book. I usually ask people, well, what are you reading, right? And if they're reading like Atomic Habits or, a book by Simon Sinek, like on how to improve themselves, right? I tend to look for that kind of applicant when I'm interviewing people. The fun things about working in sales are meeting new people. And even though I'm an introvert and not really, excited about meeting people, sales requires that I do that. So it's intentional sort of forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone. And I've met a lot of wonderful people in sales. Also getting to work with a broad team, especially in strategic account sales, where we've got engineering, product marketing, product management, support, managed services. Like, we have all these internal people who support our large accounts. So it's a lot of fun to work collaboratively with our internal resources, as well as externally with our customers to drive positive outcomes. So the most stress in tech sales is probably not making your number. I mean, it's stressful to be on a quota, and because the quota dictates how much product you have to sell in order to make commissions. And that can be stressful, right? You have a market downturn, customers suddenly stop buying. There's a lot of things that are out of a salesperson's control that can impact their ability to make commissions. For example, recently, the market started to contract. So people weren't hiring, they weren't spending money on new technology, they weren't looking to have that disruption in their world, right? They didn't want to say, well, I don't want to rip out an old product and put in a new one, because I don't have the staff or resources to do it. So I would say that's probably kind of the biggest challenge and area where salespeople get caught up, is that, oh my gosh, there are all these things out of my control and I'm not making my numbers. The first entry-level job is what's called a sales development rep, or SDR is the acronym. An SDR is, usually right out of college, and their job is to basically send out tons of emails and tons of phone calls trying to get people just slightly interested in our products and get that kind of first sales call or that first Zoom meeting or that first lunch meeting, whatever it may be. And so the salesperson then comes in after the SDR sets up that first appointment. And it's a great way to learn how to engage with customers and prospects and also learn about the products. Getting a job in tech sales, an entry-level job, it's fairly easy. I would say, interviewing well, presenting well, showing curiosity, doing research. There's a lot of tolerance for bringing new types of personalities into tech sales. You don't have to have a technology background. I usually look for, when I'm interviewing young salespeople coming into the company, have they done their homework, right? Have they looked up my LinkedIn profile? Do they know who I am? Do they ask me questions that are not how long do I have to work here to get promoted, right? They ask intelligent questions and listen to the answers. They show up for the interview in a, nice button down with a jacket. It's very basic things, but things that instill trust. Again, that, this person is going to show up and they're going to present in a positive way and represent the company well. I know CrowdStrike has intern roles, right? So we get a lot of junior, senior level college folks who reach out to us and want to participate in our internship program. So I would recommend that if that's something that someone wants to do their junior or senior year of college, to kind of look out in the technology space and say, I wonder if they have internships that I could test the water, because we have, I think, a 90% hire ratio of folks that participate in an internship program and then get hired to come on board at our company. So, that's a great way to discover an opportunity. And then obviously networking I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I might sound like a dinosaur, but I think there's a great opportunity to do a lot of research on companies. Where are they? Are they public? Are they pre-IPO? A lot of the technology companies that are little startups, they're probably not going to be a good fit because they don't have very mature sales programs. But if you look at the big technology companies like Amazon, Cisco, Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, right? They're very large. They have mature sales programs. So they probably have an internship or a sales development program, right? Where you can kind of get that first entry-level sales job, get really good training and experience, and then, move into, an elevated, area of the sales career. I went and interviewed with a little reseller on Wall Street in New York City. And they were like, I don't know, you don't really have any technical experience. And I was like, well, but I have a lot of sales experience. And they had a lot of engineers. So I said, just give me a shot. What's the harm? You can pay me just on commission. And if I don't sell anything, then you don't have to pay me. And if I do sell something, great. It's a win-win. And so I was on all commission. I had no salary, and ended up making so much in commissions that they couldn't pay me. So I had to find another job.